Welcome to the No More Late Fees podcast. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Jackie, and we're just two best friends and ex-Blockbuster employees rewatching some of the best and worst movies from the late 90s and early 2000s. This week, we are talking about the 2000 comedy, Dude, Where's My Car? With our guest, millennial pop culture expert, Janine of Retro Avocado. Welcome, Janine.
Hello.
We're so glad to have you here for whatever this movie is.
I'm so excited. I'm here for the chaos. I love that I picked this movie because I personally love chaos. So this movie definitely has that in spades. So.
Yes. But before we dive in, let's get into some housekeeping. If you love the podcast and you want to support us, here's a few ways you can.
Did you know writing a review and or rating us helps us get more listeners? Let's check out this week's review. This review is titled A One-Way Ticket to Nostalgiaville. No More Late Fees is a blast from the past in the best way possible. Danielle and Jackie give incredible modern insights to the past cinema classics, and the best part, they're never boring. Seriously. I love that. That's so
I know, we're not boring.
There is never a dull moment when tuning into this channel. Danielle and Jackie have the best chemistry, and their friendship is off the charts. No More Late Fees is truly such a fun and entertaining channel. If you don't listen already, you're missing out. You heard it here first, folks. And this is from Lex Flex
10.
So thank you, Lex Flex.
Thank you. That was an incredible review. I love
really
reviews
nice.
that are more than just like, this podcast is good.
You know what? I'll take it. Whatever you want to put, if you're like peace and love and happiness, whatever. Thanks. If you want to be featured and help us grow, head to Apple, Spotify, Podchasers, Good Pods, or your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review.
And remember, while you're there leaving us a review, make sure you have subscribed to our show on any of your favorite podcast platforms so that you get notified of new episodes.
Very important. And
yes.
You know what else is really fun besides listening to the episodes? Wearing some really cool merch. That's right. You can get our No More Late Fees merch on nomorelatefees.redbubble.com.
And we were just notified bucket hats are now available.
Fuck.
Ooh, that's very on brand.
Right?
I love that.
I am very much not happy about that. They never look good on me. I could never pull it off.
Well, to those listeners who love a bucket hat, ignore Danielle and go get you one.
No, I mean, it's just, it doesn't look good on me, but I'm sure you guys are going to look great in it. All right, Jackie, tell us about the movie.
So, Dude, Where's My Car follows the antics of two bumbling stoners, Jesse and Chester, who wake up one morning from a night of partying and cannot remember where they parked their car, which prompts them on a journey to find it. Along the way, they encounter a variety of people who include their angry girlfriends, Wilma and Wanda, whose house they trashed the night before, an angry street gang, a transsexual stripper. That is what she is called in the movie.
Not
FYI.
We're calling her.
Yes, who is hounding them for a suitcase full of stolen money. The movie stars Ashton Kutcher, Seann William Scott, Kristy Swanson, Jennifer Garner, and Marla Sokoloff. It was directed by Danny Liner, written by Philip Stark, and you can watch it on Hulu and TV. But
and
before
Amazon Prime, because I watched
and Amazon Prime. There you go.
And I watched it because I own it on Apple, on iTunes. But before we start, let's get into our ratings rewind.
So you know the drill. Before we get into the movie, we'll reveal the rating our Y2K selves would give. Then at the end, we'll see if our current selves agree with our initial rating. Our scale consists of would buy it again,
the best, would play on repeat,
5-day rental,
would watch again,
2-day rental,
okay, but nothing to write home about,
and same-day rental.
Stoner trash in time.
Stupid. All right, we'll start with you, Janine. What was your rating of this movie, your Y2K self?
I was trying to remember if I'd even seen it. I don't actually I mean, I feel like it was so long ago, but I feel like if I had to give myself then a rating, I would probably give it a 2-day rental.
Jackie?
I obviously own this movie. When we got our dog, whose name was Zoe, my sister and I really championed the name Shibby for the dog. I'm glad my parents were an adamant no on that one. But we love this.
For the first time in a stoner movie, I think Jackie and I actually agree. I own it as well. It's a rarity for any of these movies that I love it. It's just so damn stupid. And
yeah. I don't know. I might be I'm probably between 2-day rental and 5-day rental. I feel like it's a movie my high school boyfriend would love and would have made me watch over and over.
Yes.
Like all those other movies in that genre. And for some reason, this was not one that we watched a lot.
I totally agree with you. It's this movie and Wet Hot American Summer. When I saw Wet Hot American Summer for the first time, that movie blew my mind for some reason. I was like, oh, this is the best fucking movie ever. But let's talk about box office. So this movie came out in 2000, and when it did, it had a budget of $13 million, and it made $73.2 million worldwide. Jesus, that's a lot of money
for a movie of this caliber.
Yeah,
that is a ton of money.
It opened at number 2 in the North American box office in its opening weekend, behind What Women Want, which opened at the top spot and made $33 million at the time. And it even beat The Emperor's New Groove at the box office. That movie came in at like the 4th slot when it came out. It was a dud for a Disney cartoon at the time. So
people be sleeping on Emperor's New Groove, man.
And what I love about this movie, Seann William Scott and Ashton Kutcher both really felt like this movie was it. They thought this was Oscar caliber, and they even submitted for your consideration to the Oscars. Like 100%.
Oh
yes,
God.
They did. They thought this was it. This was it. I commend them for the commitment.
And they
have to
they
go
even
all in.
Yes.
Yeah. I think like they titled it "Dude, Where's My Oscar?" is how they submitted it to the Oscars.
Oh jeez.
They probably just did it like in an ironic way. They know just as a joke. That's how I like to think of this. I like to think that it was total irony.
Yeah. I hope so, but part of me thinks that they were just really
what's the worst that can happen? They win an Oscar for it. I mean, shoot your shot.
I kind of wish they did though now. I mean, that would have been pretty amazing.
That would have been epic. But you know what? Either way, I'm just glad it's like fun fact fodder for us to use on the show. So way to go, guys. Could you guys imagine anybody else playing these roles?
No.
I think
definitely not. Yeah.
The chemistry that the two of them had, Seann William Scott and Ashton Kutcher, was impeccable. And the both of them had like a boyish kind of sweetness to them at the same time that just made it very believable. But
yeah, I don't think it would have worked as well with certain other actors because there wasn't that like even though they're idiots, you still love them.
Yeah,
like there's a fine line
factor.
Of lovable idiots for sure.
Exactly.
And the two of them had played very similar roles. Well, I mean, for Seann William Scott, this was a complete turn from Stifler being on American Pie. And then, but Ashton Kutcher, this was not a far cry from that 70s show, which is interesting because the writer of the movie was writing on that 70s show at the time. But Seth Rogen and Jake Gyllenhaal both auditioned for the lead roles. So that would have been a totally different movie.
Jake Gyllenhaal, I don't see that at all.
It would have changed the trajectory, I think, of his...
No, because he was in Bubble Boy, which was like a dumb comedy.
You're so right. I think he tries to bury that so we forget. But yeah. did you ever see
a comedy dude?
Yeah.
No, that movie was really silly. Have you seen Bubble Boy before?
I have not seen Bubble Boy.
Yeah, it's real ridiculous.
It's not great.
It's not. It's not good at all.
And I mean, I love Seth Rogen, but he kind of has an edge to him, which wouldn't have lent itself.
Yeah, it's just like kind of like James Franco, right? It's like almost like dirty element, and like like the reason, even though there are dirty elements to this movie, but because they just have this almost like boyish, innocent vibe, it plays better than if it's like they don't realize.
Yes, there's an innocence about them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I don't
Seth Rogen doesn't have that.
No, I think he would have wanted to curse a lot, and this was PG-13, and they were able to get away with a lot of stuff that, you know, and it's a stoner movie, but we don't see them smoke once in this movie.
Right. Yeah, which I think is really funny. Actually.
We see the dog.
We see the dog. I was dying at that. That like prosthetic looks like a taxidermy dog they had.
Oh my gosh, that dog was terrible. I'm like,
he looked dead.
I think he was dead.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
it was definitely a taxidermy situation. Like, in some of those clips.
So the beginning is amazing because just the way that Ashton Kutcher just like leaps up and he just looks like he doesn't know what the hell's going on kind of thing. It's pretty great. And I love that
song, Gleeked Up, Fucked Up, Dead from the Neck Up. It's like this like rock song immediately.
And in fact, I was also nursing a hangover while watching this. I was like, this is very appropriate for me to watch right now.
Yeah,
it is the perfect movie to watch with that. So pretty much the guys wake up and they don't really know what happened the night before, but they don't really focus on it for a little while. They're just talking like it's their normal day. And
it probably is.
Right.
They probably don't remember most nights.
True. And so they're having this exchange trying to figure out like what happened. They do know that the twins, which is a reference to their girlfriends. Can we talk about what twins where?
Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. I said, why? Are they fraternal twins? This is bizarre, but it's very 2000s for some reason.
It was like they had the same hair color and they talked in unison. Twins.
I don't know.
I love me some Jennifer Garner. So I love her so much. But one of the many reasons why I think she's a boss bitch is when she won her Golden Globes award for, I think, her first season of Alias. She pretty much referenced and thanked Dude, Where's My Car as to like why she probably got the role.
Was this one of her first big roles?
I think it's her first. Is it her first movie? I don't know if it's her first movie, but it's got to be one of her first movies.
I'm looking right now.
13 going on 30 after this, or was that before?
It was after. It must have been like the second season. She did 13 going on 30 after Daredevil, I want to say, and before Elektra. I could be wrong. Jackie, are you IMDb?
I am. It looks like she had maybe a couple of bit parts, like a lot of TV stuff, a couple of bit parts in movies. In the movie 1999, she was Annabelle. I don't know how big that part was. And then it was Wanda and Dude, Where's My Car? So one of the very first.
Yeah. Okay.
And then when did she do 13 going on 30?
It was after that. It was Pearl Harbor, Catch Me If You Can, Daredevil, and then 13 going on 30.
Yeah. And then in those other two movies, it was very small parts when Catch Me If You Can and Pearl Harbor. But that was the first time she interacted with Ben Affleck, but they didn't have anything happen then when that happened. He was dating Gwyneth Paltrow at that time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why do I know this? I don't.
It's just how our brains work. So the twins, they're like, or I guess the twins call and leave a message on their answering machine. And they're like, essentially, you guys had a rager party at our house, like destroyed the place. And today is our anniversary, and we're pretty sure you forgot. So you guys are sucky boyfriends.
I think the twins give them way too much like leniency, and they're mad, but not really.
Yeah.
But was anyone else surprised that because the girls were saying that they were going to give them a special treat for their anniversary? Was anyone else surprised that they hadn't had sex in the year?
A year?
Yeah. I was like, a whole year? I wouldn't, I was like, these dudes wouldn't have stuck around that long.
No.
But maybe that also plays into the innocence factor, right? You know?
Yeah.
Maybe that they were trying to lean into that. Like, they're not dirty dogs.
Except they were feeling on some woo-woos or woo-hoos.
Besides all that, yeah.
Hoo-hoos.
Hoo-hoos.
All of their strange terminology.
Yes. Kristy Boner's hoo-hoos. Shibby.
I just want to know who came up with shibby and what the hell does it mean?
They said they need to shibby less.
Maybe shibby is smoking.
It's like, I think it's like party.
Okay.
It's something only they know. It's
something
only they know.
And I was trying to name my dog Shibby.
Yeah. Thank God. Zoe was much better.
Yeah.
But as they're talking and figuring stuff out, you see Animal Planet in the background, which one's Chester?
Seann William Scott.
Okay, so Chester loves him some Animal Planet.
Yes.
But randomly, there's a dude that lives in their closet.
Gene.
Oh yeah, who pees in the
plant.
Why doesn't he go to the bathroom? And why does he live in the closet?
They don't know.
Harry Potter.
They literally don't know who he is.
You know what? That's similar to
Half-Baked.
Half-Baked, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that was like a shout out to that movie.
And then their boss shows up, Mr. Pizza Coley.
What the? So instead of just firing them because they did not deliver 30 pizzas, 30 pizzas, and he's just like, where are they?
That's my favorite line is said by Mr. Pizza Coley. And he's like, I will crush you like a doodle bug. That phrase enters my mind way more than it should. I don't know if it's Jackie? The delivery. I don't know.
When does it come up? Like, what reminds you of this?
Just randomly, Mr. Pizza Coley jumps into my brain.
Mr. Pizza Coley lives in your head rent free.
He does.
No, that scene was funny.
It was. And I would never do it on my walls, but I definitely want to throw some pizza up and see if it actually sticks, because I have a feeling it will not.
No, especially not New York style pizza. There's not enough cheese on that.
No.
Too saucy. It's too thin, too saucy. It wouldn't work. But
I felt like all they had to do was take the pizza box and hide it behind the couch.
Yeah, or shove it in Jean's closet.
What am I doing? Danielle, stop trying to rationalize the insanity of these men in this movie.
Only going to get worse.
It is.
Yeah, I was like, this is the tip of the iceberg. Like, this is truly the tip.
So the Mr. Pizza Coley leaves, and then they are hungry but they eat the pizza, but they're still hungry. And they're like, oh, let's go in the kitchen. And there's just nothing but pudding. Nothing. Every drawer, everything in the fridge. And they're like, oh, did we get so high that we
so shibby
and just bought a shit ton of pudding? That also, it made me want to throw up. It was so much pudding. I was just like, I can't.
No.
Why?
I don't know, because I probably my fat kid self probably ate like 80 things of snack packs, and I'm having a flashback to being sick from it.
No, yeah, it's something you definitely don't want to eat too much of.
Yeah,
too much of a good thing.
So they decide they need to go over to the twins' house. So they walk outside and they can't find their car. So there's very much, dude, where's my car? Where's your car, dude? Just over and over.
Which is a reference to another dude in The Big Lebowski, pretty much very same reference, which I love that movie as well. Another good stoner movie.
So another part I really love is like they walk just past their house and they're like, man, I'm tired of walking. And I was like, I feel ya.
And then the kid getting run over, the way they just got run over like 10 times in a row with like 0 injuries. I'm like, this is very unrealistic. I just like broke my elbow randomly falling down. So like,
my God, that's painful.
You're not gonna, yeah. I mean, but I won't get into that. But yeah, it's like, it was just hilarious. Like, this is so over the top. People like deliberately running them over, and they're like, "Oh yeah."
But because they're trying to ask for rides, so they stand in the middle of the street to flag down their neighbors, and their neighbors obviously hate them because they just run them over.
What I love though is when Chester gets hit by one car, it looks like he runs into the car kind of thing. Yeah. But when Jesse gets hit, the entire windshield goes in. And I'm just like, and then they keep driving. I'm like, what the hell? Like, it looked like Ashton Kutcher got legit hurt in that scene.
No, they just roll off.
Oh, jeez.
Like a doodle bug.
It's the power of weed, you know?
Yeah.
It's a pain reliever. So that's how they justified it in the script.
Chuck and roll.
Then they decide, okay, they can't get a ride. They don't really want to walk, but so they're going to call their friend. They're going to see if their friend will give them a ride. So they go to his house and we're introduced to the stoner dog of the world.
And the friend's name Nelson.
Yeah, it's Nelson, played by David Herman.
Yeah, so Nelson's into like meditation and letting his dog smoke weed.
Nelson's into cultural appropriation.
Yes.
Legit. Like, it's bad. It's real bad.
And he talks like Yoda.
Right.
Yes. Very stereotypical Mr. Miyagi kind of feel to it. And he's not doing a great job trying to get the guys to focus on anything but getting their car.
Yep. And then they're all hungry now. And so they go and they get Chinese food. And literally the fast food restaurant is called Chinese food with like 8 O's.
Jesse ordering in this scene. And how he escalates to anger, but it takes him so long.
Yeah.
And he's just ordering more and more food. And she's just like, and then
I'm going to pull my car around and you're going to give me the food so I can eat it. And she's just like, and the way she growls and then like, and then
I feel like in this movie they take everything to like that absurdist level, you know. It's like they don't just make the joke, like they draw it out like as long as they possibly can, but like, and it's funny sometimes, but it's just like it's like, oh my God, like it's still going on. It's still going on.
But they take real world things that do annoy us, like, don't you hate going to the drive-through and they can't either hear you or they're muffled?
Right.
That frustration was a real feeling for me.
Or they're like, anything else? Like after every single thing you order, it's like, I'll tell you when I'm done. Just stop asking me anything else. Jesse gets very angry, tears like the speaker off of the
he doesn't just tear it, he punches it full on. I don't know how, again, Danielle with the reality, how is his hand not jacked up with the electrical? And that's not like cardboard, that's metal. It's the weed. Yeah, you're right. I gotta get some of this weed you be talking about, because it sounds
got a very special strain.
Weed's a hell of a drug. And so after that, and this movie is literally all over the place, and none of the scenes really make sense why there are places and when. It just happens and you just go with it. You're along for the journey.
It feels like it has no plot, but it does.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to describe it.
I have been watching for a while. I'm like, We have not been to the house of Zoltan yet. We have not met Jeff in a cage, and we have not gone to the arcade. I'm like, why does this movie feel like it's never ending and it's an hour and a half? So much happens in it.
They keep adding obstacles. Like that's what it is. It's like they just keep adding obstacles for them and antagonists. It's like it's a never-ending string of antagonists. You're like, oh, what's next? And then
so first, the goal of the movie is to find out
where the damn car is.
So they could get the gifts, so they can apologize to the girls and get their girlfriends. Then
and get their special treats.
We get distracted by hunger. We get distracted about the fact that they have no car, so they can't get the car or find out where the car is. And then we're introduced, well, after this,
we meet Kristy Boner,
who's played by Kristy Swanson,
mm-hmm.
who, if you're an earlier millennial and not an elder millennial, before Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a TV show, it was actually a movie, and Kristy Swanson played the first Buffy. Pretty popular actress at the time. Now, not so much. Scum of the earth, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah. And they're also getting like little bits and pieces of what happened the night before from these different people that they encounter. So Kristy Boner tells them they had a suitcase full of money and they paid her like $50 to show them her hoo-hoos. So they're very excited about that. And then we are also introduced to Kristy Boner's boyfriend, Tommy, played by Charlie O'Connell.
It trips me out. Like, if you think about where The Bachelor, the TV show, is now, and to think that at some point he was one of the bachelors.
Wait, he was?
Yes. Girl, yes. It's so trippy and weird. I don't think he married anybody from the show, but that's no different than what's happening now. So, yep. Little bit of history. So he comes out of his Jeep with his buddies, almost roided out, essentially, because
roided out Tommy.
Roided out Tommy. He sees his friends. Not his friends. He sees Chester and Jesse molesting his girlfriends. She's letting them, but it's like, what the hell? And he grabs her, and I don't know why he doesn't beat them up, but he like warns them.
He puts the trash cans on them.
Yeah,
that's true.
And then they low five because they got to touch Kristy Boner's hoo-hoos. They go to the kitty cat club, which upon this viewing, I realized the initials for Kitty Cat Club because they are all spelt with K's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not great.
Well, yeah, they're at the Kitty Cat Club.
And they walk in and like all of the strippers are like, Mr. Jesse, Mr. Chester, like, welcome back.
Yeah, they're very confused.
They are. And then the stripper comes over to Jesse and is like, hey, we had a great night last night, blah, blah, blah. Starts making out with him, is like, do you want a private lap dance? And so Jesse goes in the back with her. Chester breaks into a full-on choreographed dance with the rest of the strippers.
Well, he's trying to figure out if he got something special that night, and they have all these girls lined up in white t-shirts pouring water on themselves. I was like, I don't recall this part, but okay.
And so it flashes to Jesse in the back with the stripper. We learn that they refer to themselves as a gender challenged male, meaning they are transgendered, and they still have a bulge, which they show to Jesse. Jesse reacts in a typical early aughts fashion by being disgusted. So not a great flex in this scene, but essentially the transgender stripper is like, I gave you a suitcase of money to hold. I need it back. Where is it? So now this is complicating their mission further because now their car is missing and they owe this stripper money.
Yeah, they were supposed to come back to the club last night after she gave him the money because she was stealing the money. And they never came back. So she tells them like they have a certain amount of time for them to get her briefcase because they're saying it's in his car but they have to find the car. So after they leave there,
they go to the twins' house.
Right.
They have like $1.70 in their pocket. So they buy a box of chocolates and go to the twins' house.
I was like, this whole thing, it was like the bar is on the floor, right? And they were like almost still impressed with it, like at first. And then like, oh, well, we ate all the dark chocolate because we know you didn't like it. And they're like, those are the only ones that we eat. But it was like before they even got into that, I was like, oh, you got something. I feel like they did. Maybe I'm not remembering correctly. It's just, like, oh yeah. Yeah, they are very lenient with them.
Yeah, they clean up the whole house and everything. They didn't clean the front. The guys think that they haven't seen
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they clean the house and then they forget them. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we already finished cleaning. Just take the trash out for us. It's like, yeah, they had one job.
And they failed. Part of it, a lot of it too reminds me of just like they're like both have like ADHD vibes too. It's like they keep getting distracted like with everything, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, this bottle cap, and obsessing on everything, and then like the actual task never gets done.
It very much
gave me those vibes.
100%. It felt like when they took all the garbage at once instead of going one by one, it made me think of my brother. My brothers would do something this fucking stupid. They have done something like this. And of course, a bottle cap falls and they think we don't have to come back for it. We have to get it all at once. Like Jesse loses it and he's like, we have to get it at once. I don't know what brown shit came out of those garbage bags that got on those girls' curtains and couch. I would have gone, Janine, into cardiac arrest.
Oh,
okay.
It's the same.
Straight to jail.
I wailed for 20 minutes last week because I went to my sister's. I went to see my grandma and my sister. And my sister, when I walked into her room to surprise, like say, hey, because I don't know if she heard me come in, she had her suitcase on the bed, which for you're probably like, okay, not a big deal, but I'm psycho about like putting things that have been out in the world on my bed. Mm-hmm. And my sister knows this.
Did Christina teach her the same lesson that she taught Danielle?
I was like, not my child. Not my child, not the one. No, Jesus, tell me what I did wrong. She was like, are you done? And I was like, I am not done. What is this? Destroyed. So yeah, that whole scene, I would have murdered those guys.
Oh yeah. Same.
They were thrown out of the house.
How did they have the way they threw them out? It's like when Jazz gets thrown out by Uncle Phil. So it's these small girls throwing them across the grass. Yep. And when Jesse took his shoe off and them socks.
Why even wear socks?
Why?
Like half his toesies are hanging out.
The whole thing was out.
And for someone who seemingly has like OCD tendencies, I would imagine the feeling of your toes out in your socks would like drive you fucking insane.
Oh yeah. They're just a mess. I don't know. They're a mess in every possible way.
So they're thrown out of the twins' house, and then this minivan pulls up and like yokes them into the minivan, and it's all of these people dressed the same. And I don't remember the name of the cult because the leader's name is Zoltan.
It starts with a Z though, I believe.
Oh, well, they all have Z names except for Jeff.
Right. And I'm Jeff.
I just feel like the disrespect for Jeff was pretty bad.
Homeboy was a couple knives short of a set. I mean, like his Zoltan was like a couple seconds behind. He played the intro music too long. His reaction time was poor.
But he still got the girl at the end.
So they kidnapped Jesse and Chester because they have the continuum transfunctioner and they need it to impress these aliens.
This is where it started truly getting off the rails.
Yes. And I was like,
it was based in some kind of reality for a bit, oh, there's money, like a suitcase of money, this and that. And then this is where it took a turn for me. And then we're like, oh, we're going there.
Full sci-fi.
But the funny thing is, like, if it was just this scene and these people, you would have just said they were a bunch of nerds in a cult. But then real fucking aliens start showing up throughout the movie. And you're like, this movie went from a stoner comedy to a sci-fi.
Yep.
I think
real
it's
quick,
the first stoner sci-fi comedy I've seen.
Right.
You guys think of any other ones?
I don't
think
so.
I don't know.
Watch after the show, we'll remember a bunch.
Yeah.
And this is where they make the comment they need to cut back on the shibbying. Which is why I think it's a colloquialism for partying.
Where do the I'm just gonna call them Zoltan people.
But I think they just throw them
out?
Do they throw them out of the car? I don't remember how they get to the suit store, but somehow they arrive at this suit store where they have custom ordered suits. And you think that it's gonna be like dress suits. No. They are blue and red Adidas tracksuits.
I always wanted Adidas tracksuits. I did have Adidas pants with the zipper, soccer pants or whatever in high school, and wore them bad boys. But I never got a full tracksuit. I still have time.
You do. I remember like track jackets being really popular because even like Abercrombie made, it was just that kind of fabric and just the stripes, like American Eagle, Abercrombie, all of the A name stores, that was like a thing. I remember I had several. Actually those suits were cute. Is this the same scene with the tattoo?
Yes.
The tattoo debacle?
Yes. The best scene in the movie.
You're great. Yeah.
I love this scene so much that on bad days, it's so stupid, but it makes me laugh so hard. So they are changing into their tracksuits and they realize that they both have tattoos on their backs. And so when Chester goes to Jesse, either vice versa, I could be mixing this up, but one of them says, "What's mine say?" And he said, "Dude." And then the other one's like, "What does mine say?" "Sweet." But they think that they're complimenting each other the whole time. And it just,
the fight that they get in, like half naked, is like the
children.
Physical comedy in this scene is just, it's perfection. And I believe it's Jesse has dude and Chester has sweet.
And the store owner just staring at them and then like yelling at them and finally letting them know what's going on. But it was great to see his reaction.
I think at first he's just in disbelief watching them.
Right.
Well, because when they walk in, he's like, "Hey, my best customers." Like, obviously they've thrown a bunch of money at him. So he's trying to be as polite as possible. But then he's just like, "Y'all are idiots. Your tattoo says dude, your tattoo says sweet." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And then they start going through their pockets and pulling out random shit.
Oh, yeah, because that was the custom order that they had special pockets.
Yes, for all their things.
And Chester finds a Rubik's Cube.
Mm-hmm. They find cell phones, and then they find a lease agreement for a car. What kind of car was it, Danielle?
Mercedes?
Yes, good job. I'm so proud of you.
Yay. I'm never good at that.
Is this the Fabio scene?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
So they get the car and they drive and they run into Fabio, which I love that he makes a cameo in this movie. And while I was watching it, I was just thinking, there's so many people who will rewatch this movie and have no idea the cultural significance of this man and who he is.
He really had a chokehold on the 90s for some reason.
He did.
Like, I really couldn't tell you exactly why. But
I don't know either. Some women thought he was hot.
it just did.
So for our younger listeners, Fabio was a model who was on the cover of a bunch of romance novels. Like, he was the cover guy on all these romance novels, aka porn, pretty much, for our moms. And yeah, he was pretty popular from that. He had these long blonde hair. And then also there was like, it was before I guess we had memes per se, but a bird hit him smack dab in the face while he was on like a roller coaster, and it looked like a bloody mess. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, and apparently they wanted to recreate that for this scene, instead of having kind of like the makeout competition between the two cars, but he nixed that, and so I guess that's why they went with the like one-up game.
Honestly, it's true. That must have been traumatic as hell. I know Jackie hates birds, so I feel like if that happened to her, she wouldn't leave her house ever again.
Like, don't talk about it. It never happened. Don't remind me.
I don't know why. I don't remember the bird thing for some reason. I guess I missed that, but I just remember him being all over the place. But the makeout scene was iconic, I think.
Yeah. 100%.
They went for it. And to be honest, like, that's a bold move for that era, because you would think it would be like, oh no, man, I ain't doing, because like it was a very homophobic era.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even though it was done jokingly, but the fact that they went for it, is kind of a lot for that time.
100%.
Well, and especially they had homophobic jokes just earlier in the movie at the kitty cat club. So I'm like, okay, we're grossed out about making out with this person, yet you're gonna make out with your best friend just to one up Fabio and this chick. Like, it did not make any sense.
Not at
but
all.
None of this movie makes sense. So I guess it's on par.
Absolutely.
And then after this, where did they end up? How did they end up going to that house party?
Okay, so no, that was just a random music video they threw in.
It's also another one of my favorite parts, but I will say it's really shitty that besides Mr. Pizza Coley, this is the most Black people we see in the movie, and they have no lines, and they're just used as props to pretend it's a rap video.
Yeah.
I do love the song though.
To Move.
Yeah, one of my faves. This soundtrack, very good.
Yes.
I was trying to think of
most 90s 2000s movies have just the best soundtracks.
We need to get back to this, man. What is the problemo? I don't want just one Taylor Swift song, and that's all I hear for this goddamn movie. I want a whole soundtrack. Damn it.
Yeah, we definitely lost the art of soundtracks. So all the movie makers out there listening, make some better soundtracks.
Yes.
Yeah.
The people need it.
So needed. Oh God.
So after the random music video to Bust a Move, where they're kind of like, they got the gold chains and they're at like a pool party and have women hanging all over them, and the bucket hats. There are bucket hats in this movie. They allow themselves a break, and so Jesse goes and gets himself a popsicle, and they're kind of trying to figure out what to do next, and they encounter this group of smoking hot women with high ponies and black cat suits.
They took the look. Well, actually, they set the look probably for Jay and Silent Bob's. Those girls, they were in that black leather getup.
Yeah, it was almost, it felt very like Austin Powers-y.
Yeah,
like Elizabeth Hurley and Austin Powers.
That was the vibe. Yeah, 100%. God, I love the fashion then. Great times.
It was. And okay, for some reason I was just like getting so annoyed. Like, how many times are you gonna say the word pleasure? Like, especially the Seann Williams stuff. He was like, I want to get my pleasure. I'm like, can you just find some different words? This is like creeping me out. Like, so they like oral pleasure. Like, this is like a clinical term you're using. Like, why? Because they're really trying to keep that
PG-13.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you get creative? Like, it was just the way that he was saying it. You know, was it just me? It was very strange.
I totally agree with you. And I think it's because they were limited. They were trying to figure out what word they can use to get around the, because it's PG-13. They thought about saying oral pleasure. I think they got away with that once. And they thought of a bunch of different things, and they just decided on pleasure seemed to be the less. So that's why I guess that does make sense. I didn't realize the rating was what it was. Just like, can we use a different word? Like, it just sounds like, I don't know, like a strange ad or something for a vibrator. I don't know. And I get mine at pleasure.
It's like,
yeah, it was creepy.
So they proclaim themselves to be hot chicks, and they are also looking for the continuum transfunctioner and will exchange oral pleasure for the transfunctioner. She then deep throats Jesse's popsicle, and so they are very impressed.
Chester tries his best to negotiate. His negotiating skills not so great.
He was trying to use that Jedi mind trick. To get them to give them the pleasure prior to giving them the continuum transfunctioner.
But I do have to say, for Chester, the thought of getting this pleasure it continuously helps him through some hard times in the movie, in the like after this scene.
He just has these random fantasy scenes. It's bizarre. So it's about this time when the stripper shows up, bitch, where's my money? And they're like, we're still looking for it. And so then cops show up.
Popo roll up. I was like, they're not black. What's going on? I had to make the joke. I had to.
So they get pulled down to the precinct. And they are being interrogated because there was a robbery between 12 and 2 last night in a car that was similar to the car registered to Jesse. The way they intimidate them is to abuse this like blow up doll.
Okay, the backup story for this in my head is that they had so many violations as, their department for roughing up people, that this was their like solution to be able to still rough up things, but not themselves. Their interrogation scare tactics.
Chester did not care for it. He was very upset because the poor guy didn't do anything.
Like the way it was giving me Lars and the real girl vibes. Like, he thought this doll was real.
He doesn't know anything.
So much going on with this movie that I was multitasking by this point, and I was starting to do laundry, and I stepped away for 30 seconds, and I literally don't even remember it, because this is the one moment I stepped away, and that just shows you how much just insanity was happening, like fast.
Yes.
I'm like, wait, I don't remember this. I stepped away for like 20 seconds to go grab clothes, and an entire new obstacle and plot point was introduced, and also was gone.
Yes, exactly. So while they're being interrogated, just like this other cop comes in and he's like, hey, the donut guys. And they're like, you know these gentlemen? And he's like, yeah, they came to the donut house and bought the entire place donuts. And then they're like, what time was that? And he's like, it had to have been between 12 and 2. And so then they have an alibi because they are now the donut guys.
But they also find the actual people who did rob them, and they look nothing like Chester and Jesse. it's a really big diesel guy and a little person. So I'm just like, how? And then the cop who messed up the whole thing in the first place, he's like, oh, I'll get your car. And then he realizes that he accidentally impounded the car and then gives them donuts that they bought the night before. And so now they have to go get their car out of the impound lot.
The way Seann William Scott inhales that Boston cream donut, has donut all over his face, and then he's like, he's such a joker. Like the delivery of that line with donut in his mouth. Oh, top notch. So now we are headed to get the car from impound.
Then they realize,
but they stop at the pizza place because we see Kristy Boner breaking up with Tommy. And she says, maybe I need to find someone more like Jesse and Chester. So now Tommy is immediately pissed at Jesse and Chester.
And then the hot chick aliens come and check them out, because when they ask Mr. Pizza Coley if they know where Jesse and Chester are, he's like, those idiots will know. They're like, when they find out the hot chicks are willing to, beat them up or give them special treats, they're ready to throw the guys under the bus. And so they tell them to check out the twins, and they say where the twins work. So, and
which happens to be a special needs camp. So why not bring special needs children into it? So
a mess.
We see a blind child playing t-ball, and then I'm sorry. Oh, they're both blind.
Yeah. I think everyone's, isn't it?
Is it a blind camp?
I think so.
Okay. I thought it was just a general special needs camp, but I guess it's a blind camp. And so the hot chicks show up there, and this kid, he's pretty clever.
Just because he's blind doesn't mean he's not a horny teenage boy.
He's hustling. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, can I feel your face? It's how I can see if you're really hot or not.
How can you feel someone's face and see if they're hot? When the movie Ray, Ray Charles used to feel women's wrists to see, if you wanted them or not. But that really was just telling them if they were skinny,
heavier or not.
Which automatically, I guess if they were skinny, they were pretty in his world. But the face thing, I'm not sure, but maybe I just never tried it before.
I've heard of that. I don't know how accurate that is.
And then he's like, well, I'm going to shoot my shot. And he's like going down lower, and she's like, is this normal? And he's like, yeah, this is how we shake hands. And then the twins notice, and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? And then I love how he just has this throwaway line where he's just like, bye, ladies. I need to be alone now.
God.
Yeah. The twins are pissed, and they're even more annoyed because the alien hot chicks mention Jesse and Chester, and that they're looking for them.
Yeah.
So the girls go from breaking up with these idiots to all of a sudden they're
competitive.
They're competitive and interested.
And so while this is going on, Tommy goes to Nelson's house and kidnaps Nelson to hold for ransom for the Continuum Transfunctioner. And I think at this point, they're just like, we give up. Like, we're just going home. And so they go home. They're hanging out there. Chester's watching more Animal Planet. The twins come to the house.
They come to the house, and they're pretty much like, they're pretty much breaking up with them, essentially, because they hadn't broken up with them at that point. They just kicked them out of the house. But they're like, you can go with your hot chicks or whatever. You didn't buy us any gifts, blah, blah, blah. And they break up with
your sucky boyfriends.
Yeah. That unison that they probably practice so hard to do.
Right.
And then after that, Chester and Jesse are like, we have to win them back. We have to get the car. So then that's when they go to the impound lot to try and get Jesse's car. They find out that it has been sold to someone.
The same dumbass cop who got their car impounded in the first place and also got them arrested with messing up data has now gotten their car impounded. And this next scene terrified me to no end.
I didn't know where you were going to go with that, Danielle. Yeah, so we
don't
meet
like ostriches.
Oh, wait, we're not there yet, though. We missed Penny when they were talking to the lady about getting the owner, new owner.
They try to get the address. They can't get it. He gets his hand stuck. She pretends to cut his pinky off. It doesn't, let's get to the damn ostriches. That's where
that was pretty funny, though.
It was. Yes, it was funny.
I did like that that actress was killing me.
Her so cackle.
Yeah.
Her laugh was hilarious.
Oh, and prior to getting to the ostriches, Danielle, the two Nordic dudes show up and they're like, we need the continuum trunks functioner. And they're like, we don't give a shit. So
like,
now
we're sick of these fucking aliens trying to get this damn thing. We don't know what they're talking about. We want our car. But don't they mention that they hung out the night before? They're like, don't you guys remember us?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. There's a lot going on.
There is a lot
At this point of the movie, my brain's melting. And
yeah.
I stepped out again to do laundry, like pick up clothes, and I think I missed a whole nother plot point. Come back, I was like, what? I did, like, with the whole guy in the cage and all the ostrich, like, it's like, this is a lot. There's a lot happening here. Someone just went off the rails, and the script writer just was like,
there is a lot. And before we get to the ostriches, we have to get kidnapped by Zoltan again.
I just want to see the ostriches.
She said, please, I need to address this trauma.
They get kidnapped by the nerds, and they're wearing fucking bubble wrap as outfits. Well, apparently very expensive. I do get excited in this scene because this is Donkey Lips from Salute Your Shorts, and I was like, I know that lisp anywhere.
I love that they're like being brought to, because we find out Zoltan still lives with his parents and is leading this cult out of the barn in the back. And Jesse's like, oh, a barn. And Jesse's like, is it red? Then it's not a barn. And I'm like,
I knew that that is one of the, I don't know why that line,
the delivery
laughed so hard. But as soon as you start, I was like, I know she gonna bring up this
the barn.
It's so stupid. But the way that Ashton Kutcher was like,
he's on too much. He's doing too much of the shibby.
I honestly,
exactly.
Shibby's catching up to him.
You're right. I do feel like Jesse holds Chester back from his potential.
Yeah,
because he's very smart, or he at least memorizes a lot of things.
Yeah,
very well.
So they're brought into the barn. Although in this instance, Chester was not the smart one, because Jesse's like, there's a fire extinguisher behind you. Grab it so we can hit these people in the head and get away. And Chester's not picking up what Jesse is laying down.
He couldn't hear.
Like, what?
They're a horrible duo at getting themselves out of situations.
They are, but they end up knocking out Donkey Lips and his other fellow Zoltanian, and they put on the suits. And now it's Hal Brooks is Zoltan. He's doing like this rah-rah thing. We're gonna find the continuum transfunctioner, and then we're gonna party with the aliens. He's very excited. In this scene, while he's doing his speech, the way Chester just leans over to the person next to him and pops his bubble wrap is amazing. Like, it's so subtle, but has such a big impact.
And they mess up the call sign.
Yeah.
And so they get founded out. And then, of course, Donkey Lips and the other guy come running in and said, they stole our clothes. And they're trying to run out on them. The bubble. If I had one of those bubble wrap outfits, I'd be very entertained for a good.
I love how like the intro music is Bubble Bunch. So now they find out that the Zoltanians have kidnapped the twins for the Continuum Transfunctioner. And so they're like, okay, now we really need to go get our fucking car. So now, Danielle, we're at the house of the new owner of Jesse's car. And what happens?
We're at the ostriches?
Yes. We're finally there.
Okay, great. Boom. This is what happens. They get to an ostrich farm. And these idiots don't know to run because ostriches are like one of the top assholes in the animal kingdom. Fucking
Jesse thinks
keeps
they're
calling
llamas.
them a llama.
Stupid llama.
And Chester's like, no, they are ostriches. And he's like, if you stay really still, they won't hurt you. That does not work. The motherfuckers start a pecking and they start running. They get to an abandoned car and they think they're safe for a second, but this fucking ostrich throws its head into it because it's a convertible soft top. Oh wow, I'm surprised I knew that.
I'm really proud of you today.
Thank you. And it attacks them. And I think they get shot with darts or something. How did they get knocked out?
The ostrich headbutts them and knocks them out.
Right. I just added more things to the scene that didn't exist. That's fine. That's how my brain works. And they wake up in a very small cage next to Andy Dick, who is another captured.
Oh, is that who that is?
Yeah.
I don't know why I missed that.
So there is another cameo in this scene. It is a person near and dear to my heart. Danielle, did you recognize who he was? Don't.
Yes, Jackie, I recognized him from Star Trek. I did.
It is Brent Spiner who plays Data in The Next Generation and now Picard. And he requested to have his name removed from the credits. But then in 2002, he said he now regrets it. And he said, I think honestly, believe it or not, that Dude, Where's My Car in a way represents its time better than almost any film made around that. And he said that was a really arrogant move on his part to request his name be removed. He plays a Frenchman named Pierre, who it almost seems like, what's that book? Most Dangerous Game. So it seems like a Most Dangerous Game situation where he captures these people and probably hunts them later on his ostrich farm.
Oh, so
it gets that vibe.
Yeah. He had questionable vibes.
Yeah,
for sure.
But then he lets them go because Chester answers some random Animal Planet fact about how fast ostriches run, which is a call out or call back to the movie, the Monty Python movie. Can't remember what it was called though.
I think it was The Life of Brian.
In reference to how fast, it's like a line about how fast ostriches would run. And so he lets them out of the cage. That was it. He puts them in a cage and then lets them answer a question because he thinks they're poachers and they have to prove that they're not poachers. And them knowing this random fact about ostriches lets them out. But I feel like poachers are weirdly very knowledgeable about the creatures
they would know.
Yeah,
absolutely. The logic doesn't apply, but
no,
you can't apply. This is a phrase my husband says a lot. You can't apply logic where there is none to be had. You know, you just can't apply logic where there is none, and that's the entire premise of this movie.
Yes.
There's no logic, just vibes.
Just vibes. Just 2000 vibes, 100%.
Yes.
So he lets them go, but as they're leaving, Andy Dick's character gives out a website to
freakinacage.com,
which was live for a while. Like you could go to that website and actually see a picture of someone in a cage. It was very weird.
So on their way out, they're like, hey, was there anything in my car? And he said, no, it was empty except for this, and hands them a locker key to the local arcade. And so they're like, okay, now we have our next clue. Let's go to the arcade.
Let's go to the mall today.
That thanks, Robin.
Sorry, it just randomly came to my head.
They open up the locker. Inside is the stripper suitcase, tickets, a can of jelly beans, which are like the fake snakes. They're very disappointed there are no jelly beans, a twisty straw, and then Japanese language certificate. So apparently they learned Japanese the night before.
And they were speaking fluent Japanese to each other in this scene. Also, my question is, okay, if they found the suitcase of cash, right? But it seemed like there was no money taken out. How did they go splurge and buy the car? How did they splurge at the strip club? Like, where did that money come from? Or where did it go? Or did the alien guys refill the money for them? Am I the only one who was questioning this?
In the great words of Sam from 4 Minutes 2, because reasons.
Because you can't apply logic where there is.
I just was trying to see if there actually was a reason that I missed, because I doze sometimes.
No reason. But I mean, there was a reason why they had all the pudding, so there could have been a reason for them.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they got prize money with the pudding and they just refilled who knows? But right after that, the stripper and her boyfriend find them, and it's like, how do they keep finding them?
Right?
Yeah.
She's a great detective.
Yeah.
She is.
She put an Apple AirTag on them.
Yeah.
She should work for the FBI. And so they're happy they get their suitcase back. Her boyfriend has I'm going to call it a mascara mustache.
Goatee. It went down. It's a goatee.
It's a goatee. I like mascara mustache better. It flows
the alliteration.
better.
Yeah. It is true. The boyfriend cannot, it seems, grow facial hair, so they draw it on. Good on them. You do you.
And then when they finally get everything, the nerds show up again with their girlfriends. They realize in talking to each other, going back and forth, that nobody really knows what the transponder thing looks like.
Continuum transfunctioner.
Yeah, that thing. Realize that no one knows what it looks like. So they just get some toy to give to the bubble butt group.
Bubble butt?
Bubble butt.
Yeah.
So they do call the Zoltanians, they call Tommy and his gang, and then they call, I guess those are the only two groups they call.
Yeah, because the hot chicks show up on their own, and then the other
Norwegian guys
show up, the Norwegian aliens.
And Mr. Pizza Coley shows up because the boys were getting
pizza.
hungry, and so they figured they needed pizza.
Well, I love the forward thinking. The planning is what really got me with that.
Yeah. And this whole time, throughout the whole movie, since getting into the tracksuits, Chester has been playing with a Rubik's Cube he found in his pocket. So it is at this point, the bros and the Zoltanians quickly realize that the continuum transfunctioner, in air quotes, is just a toy from the arcade. And so now everyone's super pissed. And at this moment, Chester completes the Rubik's Cube and it starts morphing into the continuum transfunctioner, which is pictured behind Danielle.
I think we would have been fully safe if this was taking place in my life, because I have never been able to figure out a Rubik's Cube. Have you guys?
No.
Yeah.
It took me,
well,
hold on. This is the premise. I was babysitting. The little boy was grounded from TV, and his mom said he can work on his Rubik's Cube, and if he wants to use YouTube videos, that's okay, but that's the only thing he's allowed to watch tonight. And so I literally worked on it for 6 hours. I had like beautiful mind writing. I had watched videos. I finally solved it. And I'm like, Andy, we did it. And I turned around and he was asleep on the couch.
No.
I have solved a Rubik's Cube and put a child to sleep way before their bedtime while babysitting because he was bored out of his mind.
Damn.
So I have solved a Rubik's Cube to make a long answer longer.
It's better than I've done.
Yeah. I just take the stickers off and move it around and like, ta-da, motherfuckers.
There you go. I did it.
Stoner Chicks. We're 4 friends who met through comedy and bonded through weed. I'm Grace Penzel.
I'm Kayla Teal. I'm Stephanie Thompson.
I'm Phoebe Richards.
If you love smoking weed and laughing with your friends, this podcast is for you.
Weekly episodes will drop on Fridays starting April 2nd, so subscribe now to Stoner Chicks wherever you get your podcasts.
Coming to your favorite podcatcher soon.
So now everyone's like, okay, you've activated it. It's about to make the world implode in a few minutes. And so now it's the hot chicks and the Norwegian guys arguing about who are the real keepers of the continuum transfunctioner. Because one group actually are bad aliens that want to use it to destroy the world. And then the other ones are the actual keepers that keep it safe. And so Chester comes up with a brilliant plan. And he asks, what was their score on the 18th hole of mini golf last night?
It was Jesse who said it.
Was it Jesse? I thought it was Chester. Anywho.
Yeah, because I think Jesse needed to save them at this part and then Chester saves them later.
Got it. Okay. So the Norwegian dudes answer correctly. It was a hole in one. And they're like, how did you think of that question? And he's like, all the pudding. And so apparently
finally
that was the prize.
A reason for something.
Yes, some logic. Please spare some logic.
And the Norwegian guys shut down the transformer thing. And and the hot chicks get fucking pissed and merge into this tall, even hotter chick.
She is based on a character from the 1958 movie Attack of the 50-Foot Woman.
So I have a question for both of you, and I'm not sure if I'm just thinking too much into it, but she obviously at some point we see her and we see her underwear and we see her underwear later that it's like white with like frills and bunnies. What is it about these, especially around this time where there was a lot of things that were girl-like, childlike things that were pushed for women to wear in the 90s and 2000s, including our underwear. Like you could see pictures of Alicia Silverstone wearing, there's one I know right now, like where she's in pink panties, and they are like the fancy underwear you'd wear when you wore for children, for little girls. And it dawned on me watching this movie, and I'm like, it's kind of gross when you think about it.
And I remember the Britney Spears cover with the Teletubby that she was posing in her underwear with the Teletubby. Yeah, there was definitely there was a lot of sketchy things happening in Hollywood at that time. You know, yeah, I agree. I don't know why, other than I think we just let the creeps run rampant at that time.
All right.
Back to the giant, I guess. Now I will say she slayed in her look and her makeup. Like I love makeup like from that era, and when I see like it done in a full glam set, you know, because actually it was very natural for just like the normal stars and whatever. But like when someone had the full glam, I like study it. She's got the frost here, and I loved it.
She had a great outfit on, and so Chester and Jesse start running away from her because she wants to get the transporter thing back. What is it called, Jackie?
Continuum transfunctioner.
The transformer. Yeah.
And she eats Tommy because he's like, you promised me oral pleasure. So I mean,
why would you
why?
like why? This bitch is 50 feet tall. What do you think you're gonna do?
Because he's used to being hot shit and now he's cold diarrhea.
So yeah, she eats him. The boys are like hiding on the putt-putt area and they can't reach the button to like laser her down. I don't even know what it's called. But then of course Chester remembers another Animal Planet fact and realizes that he can use tools like his straw to hit the button.
It's to activate the photon accelerator annihilation beam.
I was never getting that.
I wrote it down.
We got an acronym or something.
Well, I was like, does it spell out something funny? Because that would have been on brand and it doesn't.
Waste of opportunity.
100%.
So yeah, they blow up the big old lady. I don't know what she turns into, but
Goo.
Yeah, the guy comes back out. He spit out, but he's all brownish, blackish stuff on him.
And Mr. Pizza Coley goes, damn, now those are some big ass panties.
They did seem like a sheet from
Yes.
the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was playing his role. I'll say that.
He was. Zoltan still wants to go to space. So the Nordic guys are like, yeah, sure. There's a party in the Crab Nebula system, I think. And then the Nordic guys are pretty much like, we have to flashy thing you because they have, apparently this is in the same universe as Men in Black.
And Jesse's like, but we've got questions about the universe. And so they're like, okay. And he's like, fucking doesn't have a word to come. It's like, all right, well.
So then it is a repeat of the opening scene, but then they have like these glimmers of deja vu, like, have we already done this? They walk outside to get in their car. And at first they're like, dude, where's my car? But then a mail truck moves and it was hidden behind the mail truck. So they go over to the twins' house because it's their anniversary. And they get them bracelets that say, I heart you. Which is kind of like, we say that now. So it was very forward. Yeah, very forward thinking. Dude, where's my car?
Right.
And then they get their special treats, which are
berets or Kango hats. I don't know.
Yeah, berets with their names. Which is amazing. They're so disappointed.
So disappointed.
And then they realize there's 2 other presents in their box, which are these crazy weird necklaces. And when they put them on, their boobs get bigger. And there's a little note from the alien guys, the Norwegian guys, who are like, thank you. And we hope you like the present as much as your girlfriends will, but we think you'll like them more.
They're not going to like it. All they're going to get is back pain out of it.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience. I don't know why the 2000s were so obsessed with boobs. Like they were so obsessed with boobs back then. And like everyone was getting breast implants.
Well, I think it's Pamela Anderson. She started
that too. Oh yeah. Yeah. That was like such a thing. I feel like people don't care as much.
But it goes in waves, right? Like I feel like in the 60s and the 70s, it was Itty Bitty Crew and Playboy and stuff like that in the mixture, as the push-up
sensationalized.
Yeah. So there it's trends. Now the butts are going away apparently.
Right. I mean, it's just kind of annoying how like why is a body type a fashion trend? But I don't think we can escape it. We live in a society. I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a way to control women if you think about it. It's to say you're not enough. You could be a trend. Your body can not matter tomorrow because you are an object, essentially. So it's unfortunate.
Love being a woman in 2022.
Yeah.
Very fun time.
It's so much fun.
It's a time. So pretty much the movie ends on that whole aspect of the girls' boobs getting bigger. And I read some reviews, and they were talking about how this movie is very much how Seinfeld was, where they were having no hugs, no moral of the story, like they didn't learn anything. And Jesse and Chester are the same exact thing. They didn't learn a fucking thing.
Yeah.
In this movie.
And the very end of the movie is they're in Jesse's car driving somewhere, and I think Chester says, "My back's itchy," and the girls are like, "Oh, you guys got tattoos," and starts the whole like,
I forgot about that part,
dude sweet combo. And that is Dude, Where's My Car?
Dude, where's my car? Dude. What a time. What a time. What a journey that was.
What a time to be alive.
Let's see if there's any factoids we missed. One being the word car is used 62 times during the movie, which is a lot if you think about it.
Yeah. There was a sequel written called Seriously, Dude, Where's My Car? Which Ashton Kutcher confirmed in 2016. And he said that he would not be completely against reprising his role in the sequel. And then in August 2017, Seann William Scott discussed his interest in making a sequel and that he would desire it to be rated R and dark and really weird.
I mean, it's not a leap considering where the first one was. The screenwriter based the characters on his real life friends, which makes me want to meet his real life friends now.
And the story came from a rejected live action Beavis and Butthead's movie concept that was pitched in the late 90s.
That makes a lot of sense.
In 2012, the Pittsburgh Pirates started using the Zoltan hand signal from the movie as a way for players to congratulate their teammates after an accomplishment such as a home run or double play. The habit started after the Pirates, in particular Neil Walker, were watching Dude, Where's My Car in the clubhouse at Turner Field in Atlanta. After a Twitter campaign to encourage the real Zoltan to appear at a game, Hal Sparks flew to Pittsburgh in 2012 to throw out the ceremonial first pitch and was on hand to see the Pirates win 3-2 over his hometown team, the Chicago Cubs. So that was kind of cool that kind of had
That's so funny
life after Dude, Where's My Car?
Do they still do that hand signal?
I don't think so. I don't know if they carried on after that season. They didn't win that season, unfortunately, but that's where it's memorable for. They might. I need to look that up.
Yeah. The car is a Renault 5. And Ashton Kutcher thought the script was very stupid. And so he almost turned down the role. But then when he got to the tattoo scene, he couldn't stop laughing and agreed to be part of the movie.
Smart choice. All right. Well, before we go into our ratings, I'm going to ask Janine to tell us her social channels so that everyone can go follow her one more time.
Yes. You can find me at Retro Avocado on Instagram. It is technically the O is a 0, but you'll be able to see it if you type it out normal on TikTok and on YouTube. So Retro Avocado.
Definitely check her out.
Find me.
Love her videos. You'll love it. And as always, you guys can check us out at No More Late Fees on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And I'm going to start with you, Janine. How did your present day self feel about the movie after rewatching?
I think I'd still give it 2-day rental.
Jackie?
There was a really, really, really tough day during the pandemic where it was like anxiety attack after anxiety attack. And I literally just put this movie on because I knew it would just make me happy. And I didn't really have to pay close attention to the plot because there's next to no plot. And so that day I ended up buying it. And so it would still be a would buy for me because I still own it on iTunes.
This movie is stupid as hell. It's real dumb. It's real dumb. And what I'm about to say is shocking that a bitch would still buy it. I would still buy it. I would still buy this dumbass movie. And again, for the people who listen to the show, this is not normally the route I'm taking, but I don't know, something about this movie. I think the nostalgia hold is really got a nice strong grip on me, because I used to watch this in my college bedroom. And this is before we had YouTube, obviously. So there would be scenes that I would just have to just watch. I wouldn't have to watch the whole movie, but the bust a move scene, obviously the dry cleaner scene, watch over and over again. Every time they make me laugh. They're so dumb. So yes, would buy. Surprise.
Excellent.
Oh boy.
I love that journey for you. Well, if you'd like to share your opinions or give feedback, suggest future movies, what you like, dislike, Blockbuster or video store stories, hit us up at our quick drop 909601 and MLF 909-601-6653. You can also twat us at the Twitters or leave us a voicemail at our Anchor FM if you're international, and you could be featured on a future episode. And we have a birthday shout out. Hello.
I would like to give a special birthday shout out to my birthday twin, Atiba, who supports us so much, both on Patreon and psychologically has been dealing with me for years. I love you so much, friend. And birthday. I hope you had a wonderful birthday.
Happy birthday, Atiba.
Yay. And join us next week as our podcast bestie Gwen is back with My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
And as always, be kind and rewind.